Let's go to Daniel Radcliffe. If Kyler Murray said he wanted to be traded, should the Saints try to do it? Yes. The Saints, I get the fact they have Jameis Winston. And Jameis was 5-2 last season for New Orleans. But if you have an opportunity to get a quarterback like Kyler Murray at a young age, they have the money to do it. I don't know how New Orleans did it, but they went from being literally in cap hell, like $76 million underneath. Now they're just out there just blowing $100 bills. Benji's at the strip club with Trace. Like, this team, if you can go out and get Kyler Murray, yes, you have a great defense. You have all the pieces essentially on that defense. The offense is a little bit shaky, but Kyler Murray in that division, you have a chance to win the division. I know Tom Brady's there, but if there's been a team that's given Tom Brady and the Bucs problems over the years, it's been New Orleans. So, sorry, Jameis. I'm going to try to eat some W's with Kyler Murray. So what do you guys think is the best division in the National Football League? And I think a lot of people would have said at the beginning of the season, the NFC West. But I still think the NFC West deserves to be in that discussion. The AFC West absolutely deserves to be in that discussion. And then I'm going to go ahead and say the AFC North. Those are the best divisions in all of football as it stands right now. I think the AFC East is going to be interesting because the Bills are legit. I see the Dolphins being legit. I'm never going to count out Bill Belichick. If the Jets just wouldn't be so bad, that would be a very competitive division. But let me know. All the divisions, let me know which one you guys think is the best division in the National Football League.
From Oh Boy, if the Commanders trade Terry McLaurin, who could get him? First answer is yes. Second answer is lots of teams. The Jets have been linked to every receiver who has been on the trade block this year. They've gone over so far. They would love to get Scary Terry, I promise you. Green Bay wanted to pay allegedly Devontae Adams. They make sense there. The Chiefs I want to mention, but they kind of added some guys, so I'm not going to assume that that goes down. How about two NFC South teams that need receiver help? The Saints and the Falcons. Saints have 2 first-round picks. That makes them a very prime candidate if they just want to give one of them up for Scary Terry. So when it comes to McLaurin, leave me dealt. Make your predictions for me in the comments. Why for yes and for no? Will the Commanders trade away Terry McLaurin? From Jamin Flagon, how many quarterbacks go in round 1? It's a good question. I think the over-under is roughly 2.5 should be the over-under. Here are my top 5 QBs in this year's class, where I sit at this exact moment. And this is not going to change. I'm pretty much locked and loaded at this point. Malik Willis, number 1. I think those 2 guys go in round 1. I think the NFL's caught up with me, and I've had this list finalized for like 2 months now. Ritter's QB3 for me. But none of these guys have an actual first-round grade. There are some traits and some very real red flags. Now, on this list, I've got 10 teams that could go QB in round 1. But I want to go team by team here. The Lions, they should not go QB. Because if you're not taking one at 2, which you shouldn't, why go on 32? So I don't think they go QB. The Giants have the need, but I don't think they're going to lock themselves in to a QB this year. So I'm going to cross them up. It's Carolina, I think they're going QB. Atlanta, I don't think in round 1, but maybe. Same with Seattle. I don't think in round 1. Maybe. Those are, I think, 2 of your wild card teams. Minnesota is your deep dark horse. If your new organization loves somebody, I don't think so. I think Philadelphia tries next year. The Saints could. I would bet one of the Saints or Steelers go QB at minimum this year. Saints have 2 picks. I wonder if they would prefer to go tackle receiver and give Winston a shot. Possible. The Steelers, meanwhile, I think they are going to take a QB if one slides them at 20. So if Pickett's there or Willis is there, I think they take him. And then dark horse there is Tennessee. They kind of fall more in the Falcons-Saints category. In a normal class, if this was last year's class, you have 5, if not 6 or 7 going round 1. It would have been wild. But it's not last year's class. So I have the over, I think the books do right now too, at 2.5 QBs in round 1. Type O for over, U for under. If you can find a book out there that has 3.5 as the over-under, hammer the under, by the way. From Cornell Sanders. You mean Colonel? Who will sign OBJ? That's a good question. I assume He's back with the Rams, although they did sign Allen Robinson, but sent out Robert Woods. OBJ had rehabbed his stock down the stretch. Unfortunately, he's now back in rehab for a torn ACL he suffered in the Super Bowl. So stock goes up and then comes kind of back down. There are some teams that I think could make some sense. The Rams obviously should be the favorite right now. The Saints go back home. They could use a receiver. How, I'll use the term wild, would it be if OBJ went back to Cleveland because Baker's not there? Oh, the drama right there. The Green Bay Packers, they were linked to OBJ last time around. They could still have interest this time. And how about Philadelphia? Devonta Smith, OBJ, not a bad duo if OBJ's healthy at some point this year. I would be shocked if he is back and healthy in time for week 1, though. So I want you guys to make your predictions for me. Where do you believe Odell Beckham will play in 2022? Head down to the comment section and let me know. Make your predictions for me at the pinned comment. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know.
But where do you think the Honey Badger would like to play? Obviously, will have to take a pay cut to play for a contender. I wouldn't say he obviously has to take a pay cut because you got to remember, June 1st is a very important day in the National Football League. A lot of contracts end, essentially, because they're post-June 1st cuts. And I'm just going to go because I know the Raiders number off the top of my head. The Raiders, for example, get $20 million after June 1st. So if you're an NFL team that believes that they can compete, why not go out and try to get the Honey Badger? He's the top safety out there. I'd make the argument he's the top free agent left out there. So I wouldn't say he would take less money. But I really, truly think that he just ends up going to the New Orleans Saints. That's my prediction. I've been with that one for a long time, and I'm going to stick with it. Honey Badger to the Saints.
Sammy Silver, what would the Saints have to give up to move from number 19 to number 11 for Derek Stingley in the event he is there? We got Deebo Roby, but we were just for QB last year, so I think it's possible. Well, you also have Marshawn Latimer. So those are your top 3 guys on the outside, but it's a local guy, so I get it. If you package your first and your second round pick right now, that would get you up to number 7. You said 19. My bad. 19, and your second round pick jumps you all the way up to basically number 9. So with no third, a late third, it's a little tricky to make it work. 16 and your third gets you up to about, it's all rough by the way, that gets you up to number 8, which is kind of interesting there. So I'm going to keep doing my live trade chart math here. Oh, sorry, I put in the wrong number. First and third gets you up to about 12. Now, it might cost you less to move up this year, but if you package 16 and 98, that will get you to about number 11 if you really want to jump the Vikings for a corner. From Luns, what team needs the best draft to become contenders? Ooh, good question. I think you're looking at a team like the Saints. They are close to contenders, have two first-round picks. I think Philadelphia also fits that category. NFL Daily is now also on Rumble. We have free and uncensored content for you guys. There's also sports, news, politics, tech and business from other video people on that platform. We're trying to grow the platforms you guys use. So if you're on Rumble, give us a follow. Rumble.com/NFL Daily. And if you're not, go support us so we can dominate that video platform as well.
Let's go to Jared Sanchez. Who's more likely to get traded on draft night? Deebo Samuel or Kyler Murray? I'm going to go Deebo Samuel because quarterbacks trades, they get a lot more crazy. And yes, this has been the one off season where trades, you just never know what's going to happen. But Kyler Murray's camp at this current point hasn't said that they want to be traded. Deebo Samuel has requested a trade. So for that reason and that reason alone, I'm going to go ahead and say Deebo Samuel. So with the first round pick, well, every single year the team that gets number 1 pick is usually the worst team in the National Football League. So who's the worst team in the NFL as it stands right now? I get who has the number 1 pick. That doesn't mean that they're the worst team right now because free agency happened. But if you were to tell me, Mitch, season starts tomorrow. Who do you think is the worst team in the NFL? Let me know down in the comments.
From Taylor, is Antonio Brown's NFL career over? I didn't scream this time. There you go, JT. I think it should be. How many chances does one guy get? Every spot he's gone, it has been a disaster. So I think it should be because he is not worth the drama.
What's up, Vince? Who is the more valuable pick, Stingley or Jameson Williams? It depends on what your biggest need is, right? If you need a corner, it's Stingley. If you need a wide receiver, I'd say it's Jameson Williams. I don't see Derek Stingley falling out of the top 15. There is a draft where I could see Jameson Williams falling out of round 1. I don't think it happens, but I could make that argument more because of the injury. If an NFL team's not 100% sure if Williams is going to be ready for week 1, maybe they decide to go with a player like Jahad Dotson, Treylon Burks, Drake London. Like, the wide receiver market is a lot deeper, so depending on, let's say, if Stingley goes at 15 compared to Jameson Williams going at 25, I'll say the better value is Williams, because if Williams is healthy, it's probably the first receiver taken off the board. So I'm going to go Jameson Williams. What up, Christopher C? My top 3 hot takes for the draft. Love hot takes. Matt Corral goes number 6. Kyle Hamilton falls out of the top 10. And McDuffie goes before Stingley. Thoughts? I'll actually say that Kyle Hamilton falling out of the top 10 is the most likely, and it's not because I don't like Hamilton. It's because every single year, safeties, it's hard to predict where safeties go, whether that be in free agency, whether that be the draft. Why? Because it's starting to turn into a position where the value is going down, and the fact that Hamilton had as bad of a combine as he did, I can understand it. But let me tell you this, if I was an NFL team and Kyle Hamilton fell out of the top 10, I would look to trade up, because to me, he's a top 5 overall prospect. What up, Sammy Silver? How many first-round draft day trades do you see happening? Good question. So I originally said I would set the over-under at about 3.5. I'm going to go ahead and take 4, simply because this draft to me is going to be wonky with quarterbacks. And if quarterbacks start to slide down the board, I think trades could start happening. Even certain wide receivers, and even though the really good defensive draft, really good offensive line draft as well, that's not sexy names. I still think that teams are going to be looking at those quarterbacks, looking at those wide receivers and trading up. So my number is going to be 4, but you guys can let me know. Type O for over 3.5 or perfect. This is even better. How many trades happen in round 1? What do you think? 4, 3, 2? My number is going to be 4. What do you think, Orange Man Gator Bolt? What do you think over there, Boomer Raiders 75? And then my opinion says 2. John Santos says 3. Well, guess what? We're going to find out sooner rather than later.